another week wrapped up. Wah, wah. Glad you're back. It's me, Tracy Ace Brinkman, your host and COO, your Chief Optimist Officer here at YourSuccessAtLast.com. Another episode of DNA coming at you. You know, in today's, what would you call it, tech-laden world, I'm sure every single one of you have taken some trip, be it a long one or a short one, using a GPS system, right? You have? Say yes, I have. If you haven't, basically what it is you plug in your destination, and through the magic of technology and those satellites high in the sky, your route is plotted, and you're given kind of a step-by-step, turn-by-turn direction of where you want to go from where you are to where you want to be. Now, here's where we silly humans separate ourselves from the GPS systems of the world. If you make a mistake, say you miss a turn, maybe you turn early, or you turn the wrong way, the GPS system is not going to browbeat you for making a mistake. Yeah, right? You're feeling where I'm going with this, right? See, it doesn't tell you that you should go back home. And it doesn't tell you that you can't follow directions. No, it doesn't say that. It doesn't tell you that you should give up trying to reach your goals, your dreams, your desires, just because, or give up on your destination. No. Instead, it recognizes the error and it reroutes you, giving you new steps to take to get you back on track. Like, at the next available turn, make a U-turn. Turn yourself around, silly. See, this is the kind of mentality that you need to have about all areas of your life, whether it's your health, your fitness, your finances, your relationships, and on and on and on. I mean, look, here's the facts. You're going to make wrong turns. That's it. If you're on a diet, you're going to make a left at the chocolate cake. If it's your finances you're having an issue with, you're going to make a right at bad investments. If it's your relationships you're dealing with, you're going to merge into a stupid fight over nothing. And then you're going to take whatever off-ramp. And I mean whatever as in whatever. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I want to talk about 7 ways to enrich your life through failure, how to get you back on track. But before we go there, okay, I want to ask you the question of the day. What's the question of the day we always ask at the end of the week? Have you done your prep work? Have you laid that groundwork? You've gone through a whole nother week. You're another week further in your life. How much closer are you to your goals? Oh, you don't know what your goals are? Well, that's the first set of the prep work you got to do is figure out what your goals are. And if you don't know what your major goal in life is, then your first major goal in life is to figure out what your major goal in life is. Whew, I was able to say that in one breath. Wow. So, sorry about the dramatic pause there. I had the puppies off in the distance making some noise. I had to quiet them down. No, I'm not going to edit. I'm going to leave this just like it is. Just keeping it real here with you. So now, when it comes to your prep work, have you done it? I mean, sometimes just listening to the show, that's your prep work. Because it gets you thinking. It says, you know what? Tracy had a good idea there. Or even, I have no idea what he's talking about. Let me go learn something from somebody else because they make more sense. That's fine too. Whatever your prep work is, go do it. Spend a little me time thinking about what it is you want. What do you want to do about it? Where are you at now? These are the questions I ask you over the course of the whole week. So when you get to the end of the week, then the question becomes, have you done your prep work? Have you answered all the questions over the course of the week? No? Well, sit down and answer them now. Oh, well, finish listening to this podcast first. Okay, so moving on. So like I was saying, sometimes, it's the fear of failure. It's that fear of failure that keeps you from being GPS-like, from it changes your mindset. It makes you hesitate to try new things. Often, the most powerful feelings you're going to experience come from perceived failure. And it's the question of, well, what if I failure again? What if I stumble, I bumble, I fall one more time? Because we've all stumbled and bumbled and fell, right? Go ahead, nod your head. I'll help you with the tough ones. Just, yeah, Tracy, I have. I fell over that silly thing, and I stumbled over that bad investment, and I tripped over that chocolate cake on my diet, right? Right? I know, I have too, right? But these things, if you keep pondering on them like that, they can hinder your view or your action to the future. And that's why you're here. You want to get those little ideas. So first thing I want you to do is consider changing your perspective. All right? Try seeing failure from the other side. See it as a result rather than a failure. Because that's really all it really is, right? What if you were to look at your failure in a positive way instead of a negative one? How could this benefit you? And the other side of that is, it's really not failure to me, right? Because like a podcast I gave not too long ago is fail often, right? If you're failing, it's because you're trying. And if you're trying, that's not failure, that's a result. Okay? So here's some of the benefits of failing. Here's another way to look at those results, in other words. Number one, you may try something new as a result of the process, right? Right? You're unable to be an expert in everything. Let's be honest. I'm not an expert in everything. Heck, I'm not an expert at many things. But each day, I gain new knowledge. I learn from new people that enter into and exit out of my life. And I see the new items as they get created. And I learn from those. See, when you try something for the first time, it might not work out. And quite often, it won't work out. And if it does work out, it might work out a little differently than you anticipated. But that's all okay. Think about how this new experience is going to benefit you in the future. So it's not a failure. It's a learning. It's a result. And when you make concerted efforts, you can still be proud of yourself. Who cares if you didn't get that date with that hot blonde you met last week at the bar or at the company outing? The result is you had the guts and the confidence to walk up and engage in a conversation with her. You didn't get the date. Maybe she was already dating someone. Maybe she's married. The idea is you had the confidence to try. That's a result. 2, let's talk about you gain new knowledge. Perhaps you joined a book club. Well, could be. Why not? A knitting club. Who knows? A mastermind group. But you really didn't enjoy attending the meetings. Yeah, it's like, oh, God, this wasn't for me. Right? However, you did read the first book, or you did the first couple of assignments that the meetings has. Because a lot of the mastermind meetings I've attended is that everyone walks out of there with 1 or 2 tasks to accomplish between now and the next meeting. And you come back and report, and people help critique you and give you that motivational right? Or if you're in a book club, you just read the first couple of books, whatever it is. And you learn new things. You learned about, wow, this is not going to work for my business. Or you learned about South Africa. Or whatever the other topics were that you didn't know previously. You gain new knowledge. The key is to figure out what you learned from the, let's call it a less than successful event. So you don't go back to the mastermind group. Maybe that one's not for you. But you learned something about yourself, something about your business, something about other people around you. So I'm focusing on the wrong group. I'm going to try this other group over here. Okay? So you gain new knowledge. You can make a personal discovery. Ooh, a ta-da moment. Right? Okay, so maybe you're trying to salvage a previous relationship. Maybe you're trying to salvage the current relationship. I don't know what it is. You realize, yeah, you're going to have to make sacrifices. You're going to have to sacrifice your own needs to keep your partner around. No. Really? You mean I'll have to give as well as take? No. That's a personal discovery. That's a ta-da moment, right? You see, it was good for you to learn this lesson, right? Otherwise, they're going to leave. They're going to be gone. Oh, they already left? Well, learn from that. Now, since your last breakup, you're a little bit more in touch with maybe what you truly want. And you now can communicate more effectively, be less stingy, be less selfish, agree more with your new partner, win back your old partner, whichever it may be, right? You'll discover something very important, very self-knowledgeable, if that's even a word, and that's going to enrich your life. It's going to make you a better person, make you more successful in the future. Make that personal discovery. This happens in failure. This is a result. Okay? It may not be the result you wanted, but it's a result. Look at it. And I think here's one of the things I find, whether it's a good result or a bad result, I always encounter new people. And a lot of those times, there's people I was glad I found. I'll take you back to when Twitter first started. I started building a Twitter following. I was able to build a very large following of multiple thousands of people in a relatively short period of time. And it was a few different techniques, the articles and engaging with people. One of the things I found is I found a number of people I was glad I met, and there was a lot of those folks out there who was like, really? I don't want to meet you. But the point was, I didn't look at it as an overall failure. It didn't work the way I wanted it to, but I was able to find people that did work for me, right? So during this process of failure at work or in your social life, you can likely forge new bondings, new relationships. And then the thing would be at that point to celebrate the new friendship. I have a couple of folks I'm still actively engaged in from that original Twitter endeavor. I still play around a little bit with Twitter, but it just doesn't work all that well for me. It's a good way to communicate a few things, but I've backed off a little bit, backed off on that one a little bit. I may try again. Who knows? As a result of this, it kind of points to the next step I want you to think about is you got to realize what's really important. I mean, we all strive to determine what matters to us and to those that we love, but when you experience failure, you can sometimes discover what's really important in your life. Here's one of the things for me. When my daughter passed away, you want to talk about taking moments to truly reflect? Yeah, that's a kind of event where you go, wow, that's kind of a failure. I mean, not that I could have stopped it or anything or changed the way the world moved in continual night and day revolutions, but it really made me step back and look at what was really important in my life. What did I still have I was thankful for? And arriving at that realization, yeah, it's going to change the way you move forward from that point on. I want you to go through that same thing without having to go through the pain of actually having to lose someone. And if you have lost someone, be it via death or just them leaving you in a relationship, there's another way to figure out what's truly important to you. That will help you make the decision on the next relationship or the next business endeavor or the next task that you take on. Okay, running out of time. I'm not going to go over this time, and I promise. I had a couple more here. I try to take on too much. The key is it's true that making mistakes in your life can actually be helpful. Again, these aren't failures, they're results. I want you to look at them like that. They can provide you with the knowledge about yourself, about your business, about how you can proceed in life. What were the wrong turns so you don't make them again? What are the right turns so you can focus on them? Looking back on your experiences that were less than fruitful at the time can bear you some beautiful and very tasty fruit in the future. Yeah, and fruit is good for your diet, by the way. So embrace your errors and blossom. And with that, I want to say, think successfully, take action. Talk to you soon.